Hey, what is going on, everybody? Beanie here. Sorry, no webcam, guys. I am still sick. Still sick as fuck. I hate it. I have a doctor's appointment in about an hour and a half. No webcam today because I definitely look sick and disheveled and all that. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with that. Some of you guys might like that anyway because, you know, you get to see the attributes and stuff. But anyways, I knew that being sick wasn't an excuse, at least for a video today. I knew I had to finish these team affinity grades, so that is what we're going to be doing today. Let's go ahead and get into it with the NL West. Okay, the first guy that we're going to be going over is the 86 overall Justin Upton, and not really all that impressed by this card, in all honesty. He's just kind of blah as a hitter and as a defender and as a runner. He doesn't really stand out at any one thing. He doesn't really have a lot of power. Against righties, 83 contact, 71 power. I mean, that's okay. That's kind of like the Steve Finley, but he only has 67 vision and he's a righty, so it's not as impressive to me. And then he only has 74 fielding with 81 arm strength. That's pretty good, you know. I mean, he's a viable right fielder defensively. Maybe you really want that 92 power versus lefties to put in there. But he just doesn't really have a lot else going for him. I mean, 68 speed. I don't see very many scenarios where this guy would be an improvement over whatever, you know, silver card or gold card that you have playing right field right now, or left or any outfield spot. I just don't see how this card would really be an improvement over anyone. And for that doesn't mean it's a terrible card. It's definitely a starter on some teams, but you know, it's still just not a very good card. So for those reasons, I ended up giving him a fag of a 6.8. Next up, we have the Dante Bichette, and this card is the exact opposite. I think this card is very exciting, but in order to tap into this guy's offense, which is incredibly good, you're gonna have to sacrifice some defense. He's not the greatest defender in the world, but I mean, the bat that you're getting, I think it's totally worth it. 95, 92 contact with 80 vision. Incredible. You're gonna have a good PCI. You're gonna be making solid contact with the ball. It's gonna be awesome. And then against then for power, he's got 79 power, 79 power versus righties, 99 power versus lefties. He's a freaking beast versus lefties. I mean, he's going to be hitting a ton of home runs for you. And then against righties, he's going to be hitting the occasional home run, but he's going to be mostly like a doubles kind of guy, you know. But in order to get all of this, you're going to have to give up some defense. I mean, he only has 54 reaction with 58 fielding. He does have 70 arm strength, so it's not like a really weak arm, but it's not particularly strong either. And then he has 60 speed to go along with it. But I mean, this guy is just kind of your prototypical left fielder. Some people prefer to have really good defenders at all three outfield spots. Personally, I think if you're going to sacrifice one spot to have a bad defender at, it would be left field. And in order to get the bat into the lineup, I think that this guy is totally worth it. And for those reasons, I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.9. Next up, we have the 90 overall Don Sutton, an incredibly surprising reward considering how good the Dodgers are this year. You know, they said in the stream that they were going to try to balance the rewards to where you got better rewards for beating March to October with worse teams. But I mean, clearly this is a great reward for a team that is already great. So yeah, but this Don Sutton is one of those cards that kind of breaks the fag formula a little bit, because there are a lot of things about this card that the fag formula does not like at all. His lack of a changeup, the fact that his K per 9 isn't all that great, the fact that his velo is so low. So yeah, it's very tough to grade a guy like this because the number always ends up being lower than what I would want it to be. And if you could point to a flaw in the fag system, I would say that it's inability to properly grade cards like this. The problem is that I just don't know exactly what I could put into it to to see the intrinsic value in a card like this, because last year, I'll just go ahead and tell you, Don Sutton was a beast last year. He was one of the better pitchers in the game. I loved using that card, and it was very similar to this one. I mean, you know, the good hit per 9, the okay K per 9, the good walk per 9, the low velocity, and then a good pitch selection but without a changeup. But the real kicker with this card is that sinker. He has a really slow but a big breaking sinker that that's really tough to square up. I mean, you roll over that pitch a lot. Like, it's really tough to just really get your PCI exactly on it, you know. And then he comes in with a big slow curve, a big slow screwball, a nice little slider that he throws at almost the same speed as his sinker. And then he can run it up into the low 90s with his four-seam fastball. That's not a bad pitch selection. I wish that they would kind of take away his four-seam fastball and just give him like a really slow changeup. That would make this card disgusting. Or maybe bump up his K per 9 a little bit. But overall, I think that this card is going to play more like a guy in the range of like an 8.0 to an 8.2. But according to the FAG formula, he came out as a 7.5. Like I said, I think that's low. I think that that's a flaw in the rating system. But I have to stick with it. But just know that if you pick this card up, and if it's anything like last year, this card is going to be much better than that. So I just felt compelled to say that. Next up, we have the 85 overall Chase Headley card, and once again, this is kind of like the Justin Upton card. Just not a huge fan of this card at all. He's just not good enough of a hit. I mean, he's just not that good of a hitter. I mean, 82, 71 versus righties. 67, 81 versus lefties with 57 vision. That's really low, so you're not going to have a big PCI at the higher levels or anything like that. He's an okay defender. He has 83 fielding, 79 reactions, so that's a plus. But usually at third base, you're going to want a bigger bat than this. You know, I mean, you kind of have to get a bigger bat than this. The only kind of saving grace for this card is that he is a switch hitter, so that is a positive. And it will make your life a little bit easier if you have a switch hitter at third base. But I just need the stats to be a little bit better. If this card weren't a switch hitter, I would probably grade him somewhere in the mid 6s. But since he is since he is a switch hitter, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a FAG of a 7.0. But once again, I don't really feel like this card is going to be worth it at all. Next up, we have the Juan Marichal, and a lot of you might think that this card is similar to the Don Sutton, but as far as the FAG rating system is concerned, it is a good bit different. And one of the main differences is that this Juan Marichal has an elite changeup, and that Don Sutton lacks one. And this Juan Marichal also has better walk per 9 than the Don Sutton, so he's obviously going to be graded a little bit better because of that. But I love this card. I love everything about this card. He has good hit per 9, mediocre K per 9. That kind of sucks. The K per 9 is like the only major knock, I would say, with this card. He's just not going to be that big of a strikeout guy, you know. But 89, 71 combined, that's going to shrink your opponent's PCI a good bit. Not a ton, but a good bit. So there is that. And then you have the 95 walk per 9. He's going to be very easy to control. That's always fantastic. And then let's get to the stuff and the pitch selection. This is where this card really shines. Yeah, I get it. He only throws 93, and he only has 86 break, which for a guy that only throws 93, you'd want more than that. But what this card really excels at is speed differentials. He has the 93 mile an hour four seam. He has the 85 mile an hour slider, 81 curveball, 76 screwball, and then the devastating 72 mile per hour changeup. That pitch is going to be lethal. He has a pitch for literally every single pitch tier, pitch speed tier between 93 miles an hour and 72. And he can whip any of them out, and it's going to have your opponent spinning in circles if you really start to mix up your pitches well enough. That plus to go along with a good hit in the K per 9, if you're able to mix all that in, especially at the higher levels where your opponent's PCI is going to be really slow and the fastballs are going to be coming in hotter, I think this card is going to be dominant at some of the upper levels. I love this card. A lot of you may disagree with me just because he doesn't throw that hard in general. He doesn't have a sinker, and his per 9s aren't that great. But that 21 mile per hour speed differential between his four seam and his changeup, that's just too good for me to pass up, you know. So yeah, for those reasons, I ended up giving him a fag of an 8.2. But okay, guys, that is going to do it. That is the last Team Affinity reward that we are going to be grading this year, unless they come out with new ones. So yeah, I'm glad that we are done with that. Now we can move on to more better things once I feel more better. Because I still don't. I'm going to the doctor as soon as I get done editing and as soon as I finish uploading this video. Because I have to. I've been sick for like 5 days now, and I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm getting a little better, but every time I feel like I made a step forward, I just take a step back, and it sucks. It really, really, really sucks because my throat really hurts right now. But anyways, I need to stop talking. I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. But until then, peace.